and welcome to the ID Talk podcast. I am your host, Peter Counter, and I am the editor-in-chief of FindBiometrics, where we continue to cover the biometrics and identity industry's leading vertical-focused events. And that's why our own Doug OGorden was recently at PSA TEC, the premier education and networking event for all professional systems integrators. That's where he caught up with Sage Integration COO John Nemerofsky. Sage is a leading security integrator, and Nemerofsky lets us in on how the pandemic led to serious innovation opportunities for security thanks to the demand for face biometrics and touchless access. He discusses the uptick in face recognition deployments for critical applications and the increasing interest that Sage is seeing from sports stadiums. This interview offers a fascinating point of view from the integrator perspective, so let's get straight to it. Here is FindBiometrics' Doug OGorden in conversation with John Nemerofsky, Chief Operating Officer for Sage Integration, recorded live at PSA TEC 2022.
Hi, FindBiometrics listeners. I'm at PSA TEC, which is a consortium of the brightest security installing companies on the planet, I'll say, because some of them probably aren't in North America. I'm talking with John Nemerofsky. He's the Chief Operating Officer at Sage Integration, which is one of the fastest growing integrators in the physical security space. Sage works with Fortune 100 companies, and access control is a major part of their business. John, can you share some of the Sage integration experiences with enhancing the customer experience, both on a mobile, friction, touchless access control solution during the pandemic, and then now coming out of the pandemic in a return to work environment?
Absolutely, Doug. Thanks for having me, and a pleasure to talk to you. You know, at Sage, we're able to help our clients innovate, and especially through the pandemic, because the majority of our staffs are embedded in our clients' business, meaning that's where they go to work every day to support our customer, both from a service standpoint, installation standpoint, and project management. So during the pandemic, as our clients had a lot of their offices sent down and employees working remotely, we were able to do enhancements and install mobile credentials through as many as 12,000 readers and 20,000 mobile credentials for one particular Fortune 20 client. We're able to test facial recognition for its reliability and its AI with the idea to get them ready for their associates to come back to work. As they've started to come back, the mobile credentials have been well received and are being utilized on a daily basis, and they've got about 25% of their workforce back today. The facial recognition's up and running as a two-factor at a lot of their key IT rooms and critical areas to keep them safe. The experience has been the touchless experience that people could use their mobile phone to enter a full-height revolver. It could be facial recognition to unlock an IT room door or a data center door. So the experience has been terrific, both around frictionless mobile and facial recognition for our clients. Testing before pandemic, during pandemic, and deploying and having full use now post-pandemic.
Yeah, and that was really interesting that you said you've got embedded people, which is kind of different than most integration companies, I think. That's a great feather in your cap, or what do you call it? Tip of the spear.
Tip of the spear.
That is the Sage Integration motto. And we touched on facial recognition, which has had a lot of press lately, good and bad. And I think now it's leaning more towards good, where they're seeing that it's actually a very good algorithm. It needs some work on the capture as far as taking images.
Yep.
Are your customers starting to ask more about facial recognition?
They are for critical areas. We haven't seen it deployed just for the everyday reader,
the surveillance side, or
Yeah, but as a two-factor, we've deployed hundreds of them. As a main entrance, we've deployed dozens just to make it easier to get in and outdoors. We've done this for data centers. We've done it for Fortune 100 companies. So it's becoming more prevalent The enrollment part of it is the lumpy part of it at this point, but it's getting better and better. We're getting a lot of requests for it in the stadium space. 917 stadiums through the United States. Professional athletes don't want to carry a credential or a phone to get back in the door, but they surely have their face.
Yep.
So coaches, staff, players are able to get in through facial recognition. We'll be displaying some facial recognition technology next week at an event called FanCentric out in Las Vegas.
Who is actually a partner of our online summit, which is actually tomorrow, but this won't post until then. But we might catch you on the end of May for the IIFX. You can go to iifx.org to check out what John's exhibiting at. And John, thank you very much. What's the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you if they want to know more about facial biometrics or Sage?
Yep, they can reach me two ways, either Nemerofsky at sageintegration.com, or as always, my mobile number, 732-213-3314.
Great. Thanks, John. Have a great
Thank you, Doug.
PSA TEC.
Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
And so concludes our interview with John Nemerofsky, COO of Sage Integration. To learn more about the topics discussed in this episode, visit sageintegration.com. And for more biometrics event coverage, including a replay of the recent Travel and Hospitality Virtual Identity Summit, stay posted to FindBiometrics.com. I'd like to thank John for joining us on this episode, and thank you to Doug OGorden for conducting the interview. Our podcast theme music is by Logomrad. I have been your host, Peter Counter. Thank you for listening to the ID Talk Podcast.